Hi everyone and welcome to the Look Ahead video, which is sponsored by EasyMelt. I'm Simon Keeling, this is weatherweb.net. Now, as we've been telling you over the last, it seems like weeks now, here at weatherweb.net, although it's only sort of the last 5 or 6 days, we've been telling you about the cold weather that's going to be coming in over the next week or so. Now, this was always only ever going to be a chilly winter snap. Yes, much colder than it has been of late, and feeling raw compared to what we've been used to. But this was never going to be, a huge snow event or a huge freezing event. It really is just winter coming in as normal, and that's what the charts today are implying. Now, kick off with the NAO. This is the North Atlantic Oscillation, and what this is showing us is the NAO falling into negative territory during the course of this week. It's the blue line that we're interested in here. It goes negative. What that does is it indicates that the westerly flow across the Atlantic is being disrupted. And if we take a look at the Arctic Oscillation for the same time, you notice here that goes into negative territory as well. And what that is, an indication that the westerly winds around the pole are also weakening, which allows colder air to be draining south from the pole. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going into a big freeze by any means, but what it is indicative of is the block of high pressure starting to build in the Atlantic and conditions across Europe becoming cooler. This is the 7 to 10 day mean of the 500 millibar flow. So we've got the ECMWF here on the left, we've got the GFS here on the right, and this is for the period from next Sunday through to Wednesday the 27th. And notice how both of them have got the ridge out here in the Atlantic. Look here and also here. The ridge on the GFS is further east, ECMWF's got it further west, and ECMWF making more of the trough across the eastern states than the GFS. However, both are relatively similar. They're trying to build this block into the Atlantic, and I'm not sure this one's going to be a particularly very strong block, but I think it could be indicative of a block trying to build back in again during the early part of December, although still sticking with this idea of the second half of December being milder than the first. So in the broad view, the model's actually performing fairly well with the overall patterns. Now, there is agreement between the models as well, most of the models, as to how things look over the next 10 days. So this is the forecast for midnight going into Wednesday the 27th. This is from the ECMWF ensemble. Look, there's our ridge. You see that tongue there, the ridge, and the trough down here across Central and Southern Europe. Low pressure down towards the south. That pulls in an east or northeasterly flow through the UK. And yes, it's chilly, but actually the winds here tending to do that and flow back into the system. So it's not coming from a hugely cold source. So, it's going to be colder, and there may be some sleet and snow around, particularly over eastern coasts. But this isn't January snow. This will be just bits and pieces in the wind. Western areas much better. ECMWF operational looking like that makes more of the higher crosses. There's the ridge built in there, there's the trough down towards the south, and here is the northeasterly flow. So that's keeping it cold. And the GFS ensemble similar too. Here's the ridge, look, there's the trough that we just saw, and it has the high down towards the south, so it loses the northeasterly flow, but the implication still that high pressure is there. And remember that we saw on the 7 to 10 day means that this ridge is built further eastwards anyway than the ECMWF, so it's a slightly milder run on that model. However, it's the Canadian that's way off. This is the Canadian for the same time, and it couldn't be much different, could it? Bringing in this blast of southwesterly winds, having got rid of the high, built it out over Scandinavia. And this is a theme that this model's been developing for some time now. I think we've got to discount the GM. It doesn't look right in this scenario. So, certainly cold weather on its way, and certainly the chance of some sleet and snow, even at low levels, during the course of the coming week. But we're not talking whiteout by any means. Across the hills, there could be a couple of inches, but low levels, a dusting perhaps that lasts briefly is about as much as we can expect. I think still it's going to be ice that's the big problem through this week. However, let's just have a look and see what the rest of the month is seen as far as the CFS is concerned. This is for the rest of November from the CFS, Northern Hemispheric chart, and what it's tended to do today is to make more of the trough through eastern and central parts of Europe, and also make more of the ridge out in the Atlantic here. So it's trying to make more of this north or northeasterly flow through the rest of the month. So I think that's the way we're going to see this. I'm sure this is actually going to get just stuck as a northeasterly flow across many parts of the south and the east. What it would mean is Scotland and Ireland fare best of all, with severe frost there, but the best of sunshine. For December now, the CFS looks like this. It's building a ridge out towards the east. High pressure is in. It's got a weak trough of sorts to the north of the British Isles. It's got a more significant trough down towards the south here, and it's trying to bring in an east to northeasterly flow still across southern parts of the country. I don't forget, this is mean through the whole of December, so I think it's going to be first half of being cool and a second half of actually being milder, probably going more into the west with a ridge building in from the Atlantic. Looking a little bit further ahead into January. Now, you do have to watch the CFS every day, and you can see this at weatherweb.net. Just click on the charts and then the CFS charts. So you do have to watch it every day. But January is looking like a trough through the country, quite a strong westerly flow. But notice this block still built up here towards the north. Now, what that could do is we need to watch the position of these lows that will track through the British Isles, for the simple reason that if they are south, it will increase the risk of sleet and snow across the north, rain across the south, make us wetter than normal. If they're further north, then we stay in the milder conditions for all. So this block is something we've got to monitor. Of course, the CFS for the last few days, and well, for quite a while now, has gone for a mild January with a strong southwesterly wind, and that's still where I'd lean towards. February, trying to bring the trough into the Atlantic, builds the big ridge. Look, there's the block up towards the north still. So similar conditions to be watching for February. This is a colder look for February than previous runs. And then into March, it tries to build the block back in, but this time through the country, bringing fair conditions to kick off spring, and probably fairly warm conditions as well through March. But again, very long way off. This changes day to day, so you believe it at your peril. If you just look at it if you just look at it once, you need to look at it day to day to build up a picture as to where the pattern is going. So interesting developments on the way. Get ready for that cold hit coming through tomorrow. We're going to feel it Tuesday, but really I think Wednesday this week is going to be the day we feel really cold. So thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. Don't forget, we're kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen here. So by you coming back, using the site and using the adverts, it's that keeps us free of charge. But once again, thanks for watching, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.